The signs being grouped separate, or teachers are putting you in separate teams?
Ma'am, we had our own classes for maths.
Oh, okay. Boss, we'll start with the numerical. I think so today it will be the previous chapter. Surface tension. Ma'am has already completed surface tension. So I'll go for the formula, then we'll start doing the numerical part. Just right, boys. You hope you remember the theory part of surface tension, that you had to prove that the surface tension is equal to, numerically equal to, the surface energy. Just right. Change in energy. The
Ma'am,
topic
we
is
should know the
surface
proof for
tension.
that.
Yes.
Should we know? We should know the proof for that. That surface tension equals to
Yeah,
surface
surface
energy.
tension is numerically equal to surface energy. That will be a 2-mark question. When you get your theory paper, it will be a 2-mark question.
Ma'am,
So
I don't think we did that.
surface tension, you haven't done?
Like that day, ma'am said that she knows that it was not taken before, so she went through it.
Okay.
But I don't think she gave a proof for
Mm.
surface tension
Okay.
equals to surface
Okay.
energy.
Fine. So anyway, you just copy down the formula. I'll just explain as what it goes. Change in energy is equal to increase in surface area excess of pressure. Have you completed excess of pressure? Was excess of pressure? Now I'm asking you, do you know what you mean by excess of pressure? Do you
Ma'am,
know the concept?
we did the derivation for that.
Excess of pressure?
Yes, ma'am, within a water droplet, and then the same is for air droplet, she said. And the soap bubble also.
That derivation you have done. Do you know why the meniscus of a liquid is concave? Why the meniscus of a liquid is, in case of mercury, it is convex? Have you done that concept, boys?
Yes, ma'am. I think ma'am explained that as well.
Okay, so you know why there is an excess of pressure. You know why there is an excess of pressure. The concept. I'm talking not about the derivation, about the concept. And let me once again check, boys, when we are doing it. Just like this. For surface tension, change in energy is equal to increase in surface area into surface tension. So you know what you mean by surface tension? You all know about surface tension. Do you all know about surface tension? No. Capillary rise, have you derived an expression for the capillary rise, H? Accent formula? Have you done the expression for the rise in the capillary rise, the height of the liquid in the capillary tube, H is equal to 2t cos theta by r rho g? No. So only the definition part of surface tension you people have done. Surface tension of a liquid is equal to the work done in increasing the surface area by 1 unit. Have you done this? Okay, boss. We'll start with this.
Ma'am, can you show the previous slide for 1 second? Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
A liquid drop of diameter capital D breaks into 27 tiny droplets. Find the resultant change in the energy. Take the surface tension of the liquid as P. So what you need to do is they are asking you find the resulting change in the energy. So you have a huge drop, water droplet. What such numericals are important? You have a huge drop of diameter capital D. Now this breaks into 27 tiny droplets. 27 tiny droplets of radius, each of radius r. Now the question is, find the resulting change in energy. So resulting change in energy is equal to the change in the surface area into surface tension. So what you need to do is that you have to find the initial surface area of this larger drop and the final surface area of 27 small droplets. Then you find what will be the increase in the surface area. And that increase in the surface area is stored as the energy, and that energy is equal to change in energy is increase in the surface area into surface tension. I don't know how much you have understood the concept was. Okay, fine. Just write the question. I think so. Should I, you want me to redo the entire part?
You explain it.
Okay, should I redo the theory part, boss?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I think so. That's do you know what you mean by surface tension? The force which is acting per unit length on the surface of a liquid so that it tries to minimize the surface area.
Yes, ma'am.
You know about it, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Now, suppose if I have, let me take a metallic frame. I'm just considering a metallic frame, say PQRS, right? So over this metallic frame, say there is a metallic rod or a metallic wire. This is PQRS is a rectangular metallic frame. Now over there on this PS, suppose PS is a metallic wire which is capable of moving freely. You can move the frame, so you can move the metallic wire PS over the metallic frame PQRS. Now this entire metallic frame along with the metallic wire PS, say it has a length L. Now you are dipping it in a soap solution. So a soap film is formed. So you're dipping this entire metallic framework along with the metallic wire PS in a soap solution so that a soap film is formed, and the soap film is PQRS. Now naturally there will be a force acting per unit length on the film surface, and this force per unit length, we take it as surface tension. Generally, what does the property of surface tension is that the force which tends to minimize the surface area of the soap film. So you have a metallic framework PQRS. Now you have a metallic wire PS which can move freely along the metallic frame. The entire thing is dipped in a soap solution so that a soap film is formed. Now the surface is always under tension because there is always a force acting per unit length on the film, on the surface of the film, and this force is going to tends to decrease the surface area. Now, suppose if you want to apply a force on, you're applying an external force. You're applying a force so that you're pulling the metal wire PS through a distance. Say it moves to a position P dash S dash through a distance X. Boys, is that clear, boys? So a soap film is formed, right? The soap film is formed along PQRS. Now you are applying an external force on the metallic string PS and moving the metallic string PS to a distance X. So the minimum force what you need to apply, force per unit length is T into L. The minimum distance you need to apply, sorry, the minimum force you need to apply will be T into L. T is the force acting per unit length, that is your surface tension, into L into, this is the force you need to apply, right? So what is the work done in increasing the surface area? Is that not when you are pulling the wire from PS to P dash S dash, are you not increasing the area? Boys, are you getting this? Work done in increasing the surface area. Previously, the surface area was PQRS. Now the surface area increases from P dash QR S dash. So work done in increasing the surface area. So that work done will be equal to force into distance. One more thing, we'll go for the free surfaces. So what is the force? It is T into L, distance is X, right? So this is the work done. Since the soap film has two free surface is that the liquid surface which is exposed to the atmosphere. If you take a soap film, if you take this entire frame, right, you have two surfaces, one which is facing you, the other one which is on the other side. Your soap film is exposed to two surfaces which are exposed to air. We call them as free surface. That is why we have to go for 2T L into X, right? So L into X becomes equal to, because that will be increase in your area. L into X will be increase in area because it is being extended by an amount X. Or if you want, if you are finding it difficult, I'll put this as delta X so you'll understand. So delta X is increase in the length. So L into delta X becomes increase in area. So work done will be equal to 2T into increase in surface area. And this work done changes the energy, or we can say the surface energy. The work you have done in pulling the metallic string PS to a distance P dash S dash, that work done will be stored as an energy in the soap film, right? Or I can say this, the energy in the soap film, increase in surface energy. So your surface, should I redo this, boys? Are you clear?
Ma'am, in the second last step, ma'am, how did you get 2 there?
No, it has two free surface.
Okay.
Two free surface. Oh, 1 second, boys. Have you done excess of pressure in that? You know what do you mean by a free surface?
Yes.
What is a free surface? Suppose if I have a liquid drop, how many free surface does it have? So I'm talking about a liquid drop. How many free surface does a liquid drop have? I'm talking about liquid drop. A liquid drop, inside the liquid drop, you have only the liquid. Outside, it is exposed to atmosphere. So it has one free surface. If I take an air bubble, what about air bubble, boys? Air bubble in a liquid. Air bubble in a liquid. How many free surface does it have? What about soap bubble? You know what is a soap bubble? Okay, soap bubble, right? This is a soap bubble. You have air inside the soap bubble. Air is also outside the soap bubble. Only the surface will be a liquid. So a soap bubble has two free surfaces, whereas a liquid drop will have only one free surface, a surface which is being exposed to atmosphere. So air is outside, but there is no air inside. So it has only one free surface. What about air bubble? Air bubble can be found inside a liquid. So air bubble has only air inside the bubble. External to it, you don't have air, you have some liquid. So an air bubble has one free surface. Liquid drop has a free surface. But whereas a soap bubble will have two free surfaces. Now look at this film. You imagine you take a metal frame, dip it in a soap, liquid soap. You'll have a soap film. Both sides of the soap film, you have air. You take a liquid rectangular frame, you dip it in a soap solution, you remove it, you will have a soap film. Now you can see on one side of the soap film you have air, the other side is also it's exposed to air, so it has two free surfaces. That is why you are going for twice. If you don't understand the concept, if you want me to repeat the concept, I'll repeat the concept. Should I redo this? Should I redo this? Okay. I don't know, 11B, 11C, both of you. Boys, suppose if I have a metallic frame, you need to imagine, boys. Let us consider a metallic frame, a rectangular metallic frame, PQRS, right? Now only the arm PQ. So this arm is movable. In that case, you can consider a metallic wire over there. Or PQRS is a rectangular metal frame, so that the arm PS is capable of moving inside or outward, can move inward or outward. So this entire metal frame, say if I say RS has a length, breadth X, and this is L. So the entire metal frame, you are dipping it in a soap solution so that a soap film is formed. So you have a soap film formed within the metallic frame. So now you know the surface of the liquid will be always under tension. The surface of the liquid will be always under tension. Why the surface of the liquid is always under tension? Intermolecular forces. Why the surface of the liquid is always under tension? Because you should understand this, boys. Suppose if I take a liquid in a beaker, any liquid for that matter, if I take a liquid in a beaker, now let me consider a molecule deep inside the beaker. Suppose, so the liquid inside the beaker. So this molecule will be held by intermolecular forces of attraction on all sides. Because I'm considering a liquid molecule deep inside the liquid in a beaker. So this molecule will be acted upon by all other neighboring molecules. There will be intermolecular forces of attraction. Now let me consider a molecule of liquid on the surface. Now this molecule on the surface will be acted upon by the intermolecular forces. Can you see this, boys? Right? Now, what happens is that as a whole, the molecule of the liquid which is at the surface, which is on the surface, right, will experience a downward pull. Can you see the forces? You compare molecule 1. Okay, this is molecule 1, this is molecule 2. A liquid molecule 1 is experiencing an intermolecular forces equally in all direction. So whereas a liquid molecule which is on the surface of the liquid, right, it experiences intermolecular forces, but there is no intermolecular forces acting in the upward direction. So that as a whole, the liquid molecules which is on the surface will experience an inward pull. Are you clear? So all the molecules which are lying on the surface of the liquid, they will experience a downward pull, a net downward pull. Now this net downward pull makes the liquid molecule to come closer to each other so that the surface area decreases. Right? That is why the surface is always under tension. Under tension means there will be a net force acting in the downward direction. So if you see the microscopic view of these liquid molecules, you can see all the molecules lying on the surface of the liquid will be under tension. Right? This is the concept. Sorry. So you have dipped this entire metallic framework PQRS in a soap solution so that the molecules on the surface, can you see all the molecules on the surface will experience an inward force, and the force acting per unit length, the force acting on all the molecules of the liquid on the surface per unit length, we call it as surface tension. So all the molecules on the surface, I can say the molecules which are lying along PS, along the metallic string PS, they will experience a force which is acting towards inward and which is going to try to decrease. That is why the property of surface tension is to decrease the surface area. So the force which is acting per unit length, that is what we call it as surface tension, and it is denoted by the letter T. Now what you need to do is that you want to pull the metal frame PS through a distance delta X. So if you want to pull the metal frame PS to the position P dash X S dash, you have to apply a force which should be at least equal to the total force acting inward. T is surface tension, boys. Surface tension is what? The force acting per unit length. So surface tension into the length gives you the total force acting inward. So if you want to pull the metal frame outward, you should apply a force which is at least equal to the force which is total force acting inward. Now, so when you have applied an external force and moved the metal frame from PS to P dash S dash, you have moved it to a distance X. So you have done a work. Now what does the work do? The work has increased the surface area. Was previously what was the surface area? PQRS. Now what will be the surface area? It will be P dash QRS dash. So you have increased the surface area. So work done in increasing the surface area will be equal to force into distance. The total forces for surface tension, that is the force per unit length, into the distance through which it is being moved. And this work is done to increase the surface area. So I can write work done is equal to increase in Work done in increasing the surface area will be stored as an energy. As usual, you know, when you stretch a rubber band, you're applying a force, right? So you increase the length. Whatever work you do in increasing the length will be stored as an energy. Same way, the work you do in increasing the surface area will be stored as the surface energy in the liquid or in the film. So work done is equal to increase in the surface energy. So that is equal to 2T into increase in surface area. This is the basic concept, boys. Based on this, you have to solve the numerical. Both B and C are keeping quiet. Boys, 11B and 11C, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine, boys. Now look at the question. A liquid drop of diameter, so you have a huge drop of diameter D. Now this is broken into 27 small tiny droplets of radius, say R. So all are of equal, all the droplets have equal radii. So now what happens is that the surface area is now going to change. Right? The surface area of a huge droplet is going to change. So the change in surface, so they're asking you find the resulting change in energy. Whenever the area of the droplet is going to change, there will be a change in the energy. What will be the change in the energy? So that the surface area is going to change. Copy down the question, boys. Now, such numerical has two parts. First one, the surface, sorry, the radius I can go for, the diameter of the volume of one huge drop must be equal to volume of how many droplets? What's volume of,
27.
okay, 27 times volume of one small drop. Okay. So you had a huge droplet of diameter capital D. So what is the volume of one huge drop, boys? See, all the droplets are spherical in shape. 4/3
4 by
pi
3 r cube.
4 by
pi
3 pi.
r cube. So R is, because it's a huge drop, so I can write D by 2 the whole cube. Volume of one huge drop is 4/3 pi. The radius of the huge drop, say it is D by 2 the whole cube. So that will be 27 times the volume of one small droplet. Is that clear, boys? Now get me the radius of the small drop in terms of the diameter of a huge drop. Get me the radius of one small drop in terms of the diameter of a huge drop. What will be that? Can you do, boys?
Ma'am.
Hmm.
And d by 2 the d by 6 the whole cube is equal to r cube.
D by 6. Okay, let me do this once. So 4/3 pi will get cancelled. Correct, boys? So I'll
Yes,
be
ma'am.
having, okay, D by 2 the whole cube is equal to 27 r cube. So what I can do is D by 2 the whole cube must be equal to 27. I can go for 3 cube into r cube. Now let me take LCM on, cube root on both the sides. So I'll have D by 2 must be equal to 3r, or I can write R is equal to D upon 6. Are you all getting this? R is equal to D by 6.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that fine? Okay. Next, what you need to do is find the surface area. You know, for a spherical drop, what will be the surface area? 4 pi r square. Correct? So find the spherical area, initial area of a large drop, then the final area of 27 tiny drops. First, you copy down this. So step 2, I want you to find surface area of one huge drop. Next, I want you to find surface area of 27 tiny drops. So let everything be in terms of capital D. So what I want you to find is, I want you all to find, second step is surface area. That is the initial surface area, because you had one huge drop breaking into tiny droplets. So go for initial surface area of one huge drop. So what is that? 4 pi r squared. So it is d by 2 the whole square. Is that correct, boss? 4 pi r squared. Surface area of one huge drop.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. What will be the surface area? Now find what will be the surface area of 27, final surface area of 27 tiny drops. What will be this? Sid, what will be the formula for this? 4 pi. What is the radius of the small drop? R square. Okay, 4 pi. What is the formula for R? What is the expression for R? R is equal to what, boys?
D by
D by 2, correct? So D by 2 the whole square.
ma'am, it's D by 6.
Oh, sorry. Four pi will get cancelled. Sorry, boys. What time? Final surface, it's 27. 27 times 4 pi r squared. Sorry. So it is 27 into 4 pi into d by 6 the whole square. What will be the final surface area? Just can you do this? Kavin? Kavin? Steve? Surya? Steve?
Yes, ma'am. Doing it, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Surya?
Yes, ma'am.
Rishit? Rishit? Austin? Austin?
Yes, ma'am.
Yusuf? Okay, Yusuf? What is the fine. Do this, boys. So it will be 27 into 4 pi into d squared by 36. So 4 goes 9 times, 9 goes 3 times. So it will be 3 pi d squared. Final surface area of 27 tiny drops is this 3 pi d squared. Are you getting this, boys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Next step. Okay. Next step is find the change in the surface area. Find boys, you have started with this. First step is you have got the radius of the small drop in terms of the diameter of the larger drop. Next, you have found the final surface area of 27 tiny drops. In the previous case, you have found the surface area of one huge drop. What is the surface area of one huge drop? What is the surface? Initial surface area of one huge drop. What was that? Did you calculate, boys? Initial surface area of one huge drop.
Pi d square by 9.
Okay. So that will be 4 pi d by 2 the whole squared, boys. So you had this as pi d squared. Okay. Now there is a change in the surface area. Third step, you find what is the change in the surface area. What is the change? What is the change in surface area, boys? That will be final surface area minus initial surface area.
Ma'am, can you show the previous slide? Yes, ma'am.
So final surface area minus initial surface area. So what is the final surface area? It was 3 pi d squared minus initial surface area was pi d squared. So it comes out to be 2 pi d squared.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, the formula will be change in energy or the work done. Change in energy will be equal to increase in surface area or change in surface area, increase in surface area into surface tension. So since the area has changed, so the work done in increasing the surface area will be stored as an energy. You think of that soap film, the previous derivation. So whenever you are increasing the surface area of the soap film, you are doing a work. Whatever work you are doing will be stored as an energy in the surface of the liquid film. So increase in the surface area into surface tension. In that case, this becomes equal to 2 pi d squared into T. That's it. Such numericals are important, boys. Ayan,
Yes, ma'am.
completed, Ayan.
Yes, ma'am, I'm completed.
Shall I go for the next one? A similar numerical. Let me see how you people are doing it. But shall I move on to the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
By yourself. A liquid drop of a liquid drop of diameter 4 millimeter. So your diameter D is equal to 4 millimeter, breaks into 1000 droplets of equal size. So let the radius be equal to r smaller. Now you find what is capital R. So that will be 2 millimeter, 2 millimeter, right? So that will be 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meters. Calculate the resultant change in the surface energy. The same way, boys, step 1, what you need to do is volume of one huge drop must be equal to 1000 times the volume of one small drop. Okay. Now get me the value of R. First, write what will be the formula, boys, over here? What will be the formula? 4 by 3 pi R cube must be equal to 10 to the power of 3. 1000 I can write 10 to the power of 3. 4 by 3 pi R cube. First, get an expression of R in terms of capital R, and then you can substitute. Can you find what is the value of R in meters? Can you do this, boys? Ayush, Aben, Abhishek, Ajay, Alan.
Ma'am?
Yes?
Is it, ma'am, 2 into 10 raised to minus 4 meters?
Correct. Once you have done, this is the first step. Next step, what you do is find the initial surface area of one huge drop, then final surface area of 1000 droplets, and then find the change in the surface area. So, are others getting the same answer, boys? 2 into 10 to the power of minus 4 meter. Should I do this, boys? 11th standard. Ayush, Aben, Abhishek, Ajay, Alan, Ayush. Are you getting RS 2 into 10 to the power of minus 4 meter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next go for find the surface area of one huge drop. So let's go for initial surface area of, what is the initial surface area of one huge drop? What will be that? That will be 4 pi r squared. Okay, so 4 pi, what is the value of R, capital R? 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 the whole square. Is that correct? Is that correct, boys? 11
Yes.
CS. Okay, so what is that? 4 pi into, if I go for this, 4 into 10 to the power of minus 6. So totally it is 16 pi into 10 to the power of minus 6 meters square.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is the final surface area of final surface area of 1000 droplets? So it will be 1000 into 4 pi r squared. So I can write this as 10 to the power of 3, 4 pi into, what is the value of r? 2 into 10 to the power of 2, correct? Minus 2, the whole square.
Ma'am, minus 4.
Minus, okay, minus 4. Now what is the value here? 10 to the power of 3 into 4 pi into 4 into 10 to the power of minus 8. So it will 16 pi, this 3 into 10 to the power of minus 5 meters squared.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you have to, what will be the increase in area? What will be the increase in area? 16 pi is common. 10 to the power of minus 5 is also common. So it will be 1 minus
0.1 and 0.9.
So what will be, okay, fine, keep that. And then you find the resultant surface energy. So the surface energy will be surface tension into the change in the surface area. So others doing, others solving the numerical. Jayant,
Yes, ma'am.
Joshua, Jacob. Hans is there? Hans? Lakesh?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay. Lakesh? Melvin?
Yes, ma'am.
Nishant?
Yes, ma'am.
So what will be the change in surface area? What will be the change in surface area, boys? Change in surface area. So that will be 16 pi into 10 to the power of minus 5 if I take it outside. 1 minus 10 to the power of minus 1. What is 10 to the power of minus 1? 0.1?
And 0.1.
No, 0.1.
Yes, ma'am.
So calculate that and then calculate.
I think it's break.
Okay, it's break. Oh, fine, boys. I thought I'll finish. Excess of pressure is fine, or I just want to check whether accent formula, capillary rise, you people are clear about it. I thought it's being completed. So I want to complete the numerical part. That's what is left in the chapter is the numerical part. Or should I do the accent formula? Just tell me, boys. Otherwise, I've started with the numerical. Should I redo the theory part of excess of pressure? Excess of pressure, I think it's fine. What about capillary rise? 11th standard. Anyway, you put a message in your group.
Ma'am,
So
is
if
that
you
angle of contact?
no, it's related to angle of contact. To what extent the liquid can rise in a capillary tube? You haven't. Accent formula is being done.
I don't think so.
Accent formula. It's not being done. Okay, so then tomorrow's class we'll finish whatever is left and then the numerical here and then I'll go for the accent formula and then we'll complete the chapter. Okay, you can leave. You can leave, boss.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.